It's Tony Butler, and today we're going to talk about why brands need an actual content marketing system that's custom built around their story to go to market with. But before we do that, please click on this video, and you haven't done so yet, follow this channel. I'm going to be sharing with you everything you need to build a content marketing system for your business that will help you scale. Whether you're a startup or SaaS, manufacturing, e-commerce, hospitality, B2B, B2C, it doesn't matter. Primal storytelling is a content marketing system for humans, and that makes all the difference. Okay, so my first few years owning a marketing agency were very difficult. I was terrible at looking at the big picture and thoughtfully putting together a strategy that was holistic and incorporated all the right steps for a particular client's needs. I can't even stress this more, like how bad I really was in those first couple years. And some really brutal marketing failures woke me up to the fact that I needed a system. Having a system with inputs and predictable outputs, was maybe the most important part of my thinking. If you've ever had a campaign fail and not understood why it failed, or even have an inkling of why, then you know what I'm talking about. It's terrible. It's a horrible feeling, especially if you're working with small businesses that need results. They look to me as an expert and they want some predictable outcomes. And that's kind of what led me to Primal Storytelling. It all started back at the end of 2018. I was exhausted. I was burned out. I was feeling a bit defeated. I had done some of the best work of my life in the year prior. And not only did I not make any money, but some of my clients weren't happy. It was a bad year. And the worst part was our work was polished, it was professional, it was on time, but a lot of times it was just not getting great results. And for the life of me, I just couldn't put my finger on what was wrong. So I decided to attend a 4-day closed door high performance forum with Darren Hardy, his wife Georgia, down in San Diego. Fantastic forum. I definitely recommend if you ever get a chance to go. Darren's a genius. Not just in personal development, but he's a business genius. And I don't even think a lot of people realize the level that he's at. But anyway, at the forum, he said something that caught my attention, changed my life. It's something I'd heard before, but I just never really thought deeply about it. And he said, people make decisions emotionally, and they justify their decisions with logic. And I had this question. I was like, what if that applied to content? Like, what if people watch content emotionally? What they read, what they watch, what they listen to. And what if I could create a system around that for my agency? It sent me into absolute hyperdrive, studying emotions. And not long after that, I came across this scientific article discussing human instincts and emotion. And it made the argument that humans have overcome most of their instincts, and unlike animals, we can use our free will and do what we want. But the vestiges of those instincts, our primal urges, along with our emotions, they're still powerful forces in our lives. They decide nearly all of our decisions and actions. If you've ever wondered why, funny kitty videos and porn are so popular, it's because they both tap into our primal urges and they elicit just a whole medley of emotions all at the same time. Once I understood the lens of primal urges and emotions, it wasn't long before I connected the dots to the relevance of primal urges and storytelling. Okay, storytelling in the development of the human species is one of the most important ideas. Storytelling is older than the invention of fire. It's one of the most unique human traits. It's something that separates us from every other animal. Okay, we talk and we think in stories, even when we don't realize it. From a very young age, stories and the pictures they evoke, they help us organize information. It's how we learn language. So flash forward a couple years, I have tested this system in many different industries, both B2B and B2C companies, and it works. The industry and type of business doesn't really matter that much because we're always marketing to humans. And storytelling, it's a universal language. It works in English, it works in every other language you have. Kind of a back thought. Back in 2004, Michael Gerber published one of the most important business books of our time. At least I think so. Called The E-Myth, and then he did an updated version called The E-Myth Revisited. The E in E-Myth, it stands for the entrepreneurial myth, the E-Myth. The idea behind his book was that most businesses in the country, they're not really started by entrepreneurs. They're started by someone who's a technician, meaning they're really good at one thing, and for whatever reason, maybe they felt disrespected or they didn't like their boss, or for whatever reason, they decided they could do it better on their own than working for someone else. Okay? But the big gap in thinking is they're spending all of their time working in the business. They're doing their thing. They're doing that technician thing. They weren't working on the business. They didn't think of their business as a system, a repeatable scientific process with inputs and predictable outputs. They're focused on the doing of the thing and not how it fit into the entire picture. Like the dictionary definition of entrepreneur is a person who organizes and operates a business. Okay? Organizes and operates. It's a system thinking that separates the technician from the true entrepreneur. Okay? I'd argue that this is the exact same issue most in-house marketers take, to their approach to marketing their company. They themselves, they have some expertise, they're a technician, and one or more parts of the digital marketing process is something that they're good at. Maybe they got some chops in graphic design, or maybe they're a good writer or a good videographer, whatever. But they focus on that. Most of the time, they don't have a system that covers it all. It's one of the reasons why so many brands fail at content marketing. They have goals for their marketing, which usually boil down to one or two things: get more leads or make more sales. Few ever give it the thought and attention, and most of all, the strategic process it needs to be successful. The thing is, when it comes to content marketing, if you're just putting up random social media posts, that's not going to move the needle. Okay, taking part to the online conversation online, it's just a mistake. Like, what are you tweeting that it's going to help anyone unless there's a strategy behind it? You have to have a process. It's like a hunter who takes their rifle and they go to the wood line and they start shooting into the trees hoping to hit a deer. It might be successful once in a while, but for the most part, it's a terrible strategy. You have to know exactly what you're going after and then have a deliberate and detailed plan for how to do it. When you think of content marketing as a system, everything changes. What are the inputs and the outputs? I think most marketers fall victim to the same pitfalls. I know that I did. They look at their content calendar and they start brainstorming ideas and topics, and they get excited. They move on to outlining some of those ideas, and they create some headlines. They put the headlines in the calendar, and that's where it gets started. But that's not a system. It's random acts of marketing. The problem is content system is much bigger than just publishing as much as you can. Now think about this. Every single day, 50 plus years of new content is uploaded onto YouTube. So literally, if you watch YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you would just barely get through a single day of new content. The problem is most of that content is absolute nonsense. Total and complete crap. There's no rhyme to it. There's no reason. There's no purpose behind it. There's no strategy. It goes up on YouTube and it dies. No one ever watches it. Okay? And don't get me wrong. Content ideas are an important part of the process. Brainstorming is an important part of the process. But they're just one piece. Here's a lesson. It's exactly like Gerber proposed in the E-Myth, and not just for the whole business, but for the department, the marketing. The system is the most important part. Okay? So there you have it, why you need a content marketing system like Primal Storytelling to take your brand to the next level. So give it some thought. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear some comments. What kind of system are you using now, if any? So there you go. See, but before you go, I just want to leave you with something. If you're struggling to build out a content marketing program for your business, or you're not sure where to get started, or you just want a little extra direction, share a link to your website in the comments. I'll take a look. I'll give you some ideas on where to start on a value theme free of charge. You can also message me on Instagram. I have a little channel there. I post up some personal stuff. It's just Anthony L. Butler, or shoot me an email at anthony@candoideas.com. And I answer all my own email and I read my own comments. My assistant doesn't do it. All right, thank you and be well.